amendments. What happens now? If you have a change in accounting practices, for example, you're, I guess, changing your effort reporting system, you're changing the way you account for administrative and clerical costs, you've got to submit a approval to your cognizant agency. For most of you, that's probably the DCA or ONR, requesting approval for this accounting change 6 months in advance of implementing. The government has six months to review that. If they don't get back to you, you can probably assume moving forward.
I'm curious, Mark, what's your experience with the turnaround times on approval of the DS2?
Well, you know, the audit activity over the years has been, absent the ONR institutions in the DCA world, that has been very slow.
We're not talking days here.
We're talking a long time. In fact, there are institutions that probably have not gone through an audit process of their DS2. And it's a process that dates back to 1998 for many of the institutions. So I don't know, David. It'll be interesting to see what that turnaround time is within the HHS.
So something like the administrative and clerical charging, which is a significant and an important change.
Yep.
Are we going to, all of a sudden, are 100 institutions or whatever, 200 institutions that currently have a DS2 on file going to onslaught the DCA with amendments to the disclosure statement?
I don't know.
Well, I think
Some
it
of you
depends on the level of detail you have in your DS2. You may not even mention that, and in which case you wouldn't need to revise your DS2. So I think it really is going to be a case-by-case, people reviewing it to see what kind of changes the uniform guidance is going to require.
And I think the other issue is, what's the impact to your institution from making a cost accounting change?
Right.
Is it?
That's a good point.
Is it, fiscally, does it make sense with some of these types of changes? And what we're hearing is there are institutions that are looking at this right now and they're considering it. Yeah. So I would assume that would be a positive change for them. Yeah. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Which may suggest, I mean, if we're going live December 26th, we might want to start thinking about proposing an amendment
soon.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Dave. And again, Kim, you mentioned the fringe benefit rate, right? I mean, that one has a cycle that's tied to a fiscal year, right? It's not like you can begin at any time you want. So again,
and there's a negotiation.
That's right. Again, so it has to happen. So that's why that one's an 18 to 24 month process,
right.
especially when you throw the DS2 in.
Yep.
Okay, but